And welcome to another episode of GamerHeads. My name is Roger, aka Rogue Leader 76, and with me are my co-host Mike,
aka Pezman Mike,
and my other co-host Christian,
aka Fulgan.
Unfortunately, Blue is not feeling well, so she wasn't able to join us. Actually, she lost her voice, I think. So,
oh no.
Yeah, Mike suggested that she.
You know what? It's probably because of that game that she was talking about. And not in an unfair light.
Yes, exactly.
Where the character lost their voice and now...
Grease.
Yeah, where now they have cursed her to lose her voice.
You're right. Now maybe she can connect with that game.
That's right.
Oh, jeez.
Mike, you suggested that she get a spell. What is that?
A speak and spell.
Speak
She could
and
just
spell.
type in whatever she wants, and then Robo Voice will let us all know what's going on.
Yeah, but that Robo Voice, actually, that was really well done for its time because, it kind of talking to kids like a Robo Voice. That was really amazing.
Yeah, you know what? The funny thing is, during our show last week, on the Controller Thrower show, Kurt, his assignment for his retrospective was Gauntlet.
Oh yeah.
And the voice in Gauntlet that goes like, "Your life force is running out," or things like that.
Yeah.
That was the speak and spell chip with just a slight modification. Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's
the more
crazy.
you know with the star flying. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Mike, congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate
100
it.
episodes. That's awesome.
Yeah. Very excited.
So before we get into everything, I just got to know, what was your favorite moment so far looking over the past 100 episodes?
The first time that a person by the name of GamerHeads Podcast showed up in our chat.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, no, seriously. What was your favorite moment so far?
There were a few. You know what? Okay, I'm going to say our favorite moment was when we interviewed Brian Cullen, who's the creator of Rampage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was our favorite when we got to chat with him. That was a real exciting, geeky moment for me.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
And do you think, I don't know, I guess this is always how I kind of feel when I do GamerHeads. Did you ever imagine you're like, wow, I never imagined I would be able to interview such cool people or to do such cool things. Do you ever feel that? I always feel that all the time. I feel really blessed that it's just such an awesome feeling. So
just sitting back and reflecting on on everything that happened as a result of just the podcast. Absolutely. It's pretty humbling.
Yeah, it is. So cool. Well, congratulations again, Mike.
Thank you.
And listeners, you can find the Controller Throwers right here on the GamerHeads.podcast.com, part of the GamerHeads network. So
woo.
Cool. Well, we have quite a bit to cover today. We have a review of The King's Lost Lullaby. So Christian's played that. And then we also have a review of Super Blood Hockey. Mike played that, so we'll be talking about those. We also have our gaming news. We'll be talking about Fortnite's Avengers Endgame event. And also about the crunch time at NetherRealm Studio. We'll get into that. And then our hot topic actually revolves around the eShop and is there shovelware in the eShop, on Nintendo's eShop? Well, I guess we can discuss whether or not we agree with that. And then how if so, how is that going to affect Nintendo and consumers as well? So we'll talk about that. But before we get into all that, I do have an icebreaker. So because this actually came from Mike. Mike, why don't you go ahead and take it?
So, as we all know, by the way, before we get into this, no spoilers will be uttered at all about Avengers Endgame. So, just throwing that out.
Yeah, because none of us seen it yet.
Yeah. So, with Avengers Endgame releasing and the culmination of 10 years of Marvel movies, we wanted to ask, what is your favorite Marvel game?
Ooh.
Yeah, there was a lot. I had to do a lot of thinking.
Yeah, why don't you start us off, Mike?
Sure. So obviously, Spider-Man on PS4 is huge. Everyone's talking about that. And actually, I just rewatched Spider-Verse last night. Yeah. And the scene where they go in the shed and they see Peter Parker's laboratory and has all the spider suits. Yeah. The PS4 suit is one of those suits.
Yeah, isn't it awesome?
I didn't realize that. I'm like, oh, that's I recognize that.
Yeah,
So
that's crazy.
But so I'm gonna just quickly fire off just a few of my favorites because I have so many of them. Let's see. Okay, so another one. I'm just starting. X-Men Origins Wolverine for the Xbox 360.
Oh,
good pick.
That is a surprisingly good game. So I really love that game.
Much better than the movie.
Yes, much better than the movie, indeed. There's a Captain America game for the 360 also that was pretty good.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's really short too. I was able to blast through it in a weekend. So I rented it, so it was okay. I didn't spend any actually money on it. But I will say, of course, Marvel vs. Capcom. But I will say, my favorite Marvel game of all time is X-Men: The Arcade Game.
Oh,
the the 6-player cabinet. Having getting all the strangers all gathering up at this one cabinet to take out Magneto. The double screens. The animation and the terrible translation from Japanese to English.
Yes,
it's just a thing of beauty, man.
Welcome to Die.
Exactly.
Classic.
Die, Alabama. There is a Hell, Michigan. So
there is. Absolutely. I can't think. I think that's it. I think that's all I got for now.
Nice. What about you, Christian?
This one, it wasn't very hard for me to pick because a lot of the Marvel games I played weren't good. Like, I've played Rise of the Imperfects a lot, which was a fighting game that wasn't very good, that had a bunch of Marvel characters and X-Men characters. I played the Thor game on the 360 that was very not good. What else? Iron Man 2 and 1. There were video games for those, I think. Those weren't very good. But I think my favorite by default would have to be Spider-Man, but not the one on PS4. The one that released in 2000 on the PC, N64, PlayStation, and Dreamcast.
That was a good game.
Yeah, I've got a lot of nostalgia wrapped up in that one, and so I would say Spider-Man on PS4 is definitely the better video game, but I've got a lot of soft spots for that original Spider-Man 2000 Activision published game. It's a lot of fun. It's very comic booky.
So it was published by Activision, but wasn't it created by Neversoft, right? I think, right?
Yeah, it was Neversoft. Because then they put Spider-Man in Tony Hawk 2.
Yes,
awesome.
They did.
I think that was one of my favorite boss battles at the end, because that was the one where, spoilers by the way, for a 20-year-old game, that's where the symbiote attaches to Doc Ock, right?
Yeah.
And he chases you through the building or something. Oh man, that was memorable for me too. That's a good game, a good pick.
That is a good game. That was a really good game. For myself, I mean, I have a lot of games that I really liked too. I mean, I really, 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 really love the new Spider-Man game on the PlayStation 4. A lot. I really, really liked Spider-Man. I mean, not liked. I still like Spider-Man 2. Loved Spider-Man 2. I love Spider-Man 2 because Joe's Pizza. You could deliver pizzas. How fun was that?
And then Italian pizza song.
Yeah. And when I was in New York, I went to Joe's Pizza, which is awesome.
Oh, nice.
And but I would say my favorite game is the original Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I put so many hours into that game, and we tried to unlock all the different stuff and all the different suits and stuff like that. That game was so good.
It's like Marvel Diablo.
Yeah, it is Marvel Diablo. It was really, oh my gosh. My wife and I played that game so much. We have the second one, the first and second one. We rebought them on the Wii. I haven't played them, but I'm super excited about the one that's coming out on the Switch. So
yeah,
it's good.
July.
Yeah.
Is that a day off work game?
It should be. I might have to. Yeah.
Let me know if you do. I'll take the day off too, and we'll grind.
Oh, okay. All right. That'd be awesome. Oh, can you play? You can play online, right?
Yeah.
Oh, day off work game.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go through Esquire, because when I think of video games, I think of Esquire. They rank their top 10 best Marvel games of all time. So I'm just gonna quickly go through these and see if you guys agree with this. So number 10 was The Incredible Hulk: Ultimate Destruction from 2005.
Great one.
I have that. I haven't played it.
I haven't played it either. You do have it? Is that what you said, Mike?
Yeah, I do.
But you never played it.
Never played it. Backlog Blues.
That's right. Number 9 is Lego Marvel Superheroes.
Okay.
That's a good one.
That was a good one. Number 8 is X-Men 1993. That was on the Sega Genesis.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah, where you have to reset the system to fight Mojo. Or was that the second one?
Yeah.
No, Mojo's the second one. There's a point where it doesn't even tell you have to actually reset your Genesis in order to move forward.
Oh, wow. Weird.
Yeah.
That is weird. Number 7 is Spider-Man 2.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6 is Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Yeah.
Number 5 is Spider-Man 2000. From the year 2000, I should say.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Ultimate Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 is Marvel Spider-Man, the one that came out on PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Yeah.
And number 1 is the X-Men 1992, the cabinet game. So.
Wow.
Hey.
Yeah. So.
It's a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Nobody said Silver Surfer for the NES.
Oh God. No. Another one that I really did kind of enjoy was the Avengers on the Genesis. That was a good one. Oh, the Punisher too. The Punisher on the Genesis is really
No, the Punisher on the Xbox and PS2.
Oh wow.
I completely forgot about that. I'm changing my answer again. If you have an opportunity, oh boy, I got to go look for that game now. If you have an opportunity to pick up that game and play it, it is one of the best Marvel games.
Really?
Not just Marvel games, it is just an awesome game in general. Like the interrogations that you do in it are so cool, and it really is. It encapsulates everything about the Punisher.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it's like, and it's really, really graphic. It definitely earns its M rating.
Wow.
I forgot. That's a great game.
Oh, I'm gonna have to play that. So cool.
Yeah.
Listeners, let us know what your favorite Marvel game is. You can send us a tweet at GamerHeadsPC. You can send us an email at info@GamerHeadsPodcast. You can also go to our Facebook page, and that's facebook.com/GamerHeadsPodcast, or you can go to our website, GamerHeadsPodcast.com, and leave us a message there as well. All right, let's move on to the gaming news then. So the very first thing I have here, Christian, you want to read the first one that I have?
Sure. This guy is from Push Square. It's about Fortnite's Avengers Endgame event starting today on PS4, and it adds limited time mode and weapons. So a new mode called Endgame has been introduced for a limited time. It pits 2 teams against each other fighting over the 6 Infinity Stones. Thanos and his, oh boy, Chitauri.
There you go.
Chitauri.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Chitauri army make up one team, whose job it is to seize the stones and make the big baddie even more powerful. The hero team is tasked with preventing this from happening by defeating the enemies, including Thanos. In order to achieve this, various weapons wielded by the film's protagonists can be found, like Captain America's shield or Thor's hammer. This sounds wonderful. Yeah,
I know.
They already did the Avengers thing for Infinity War, but this sounds like they just cranked it up a notch.
I know. This is the thing that I think is so amazing about Epic and Fortnite, what they're doing with Fortnite, is that they're just incorporating all this stuff into the game. Like, and just quickly, right? And the thing is, this is not going to last forever. It's like a quick, think about all the manpower and everything that went into that to make this happen for a timed event. Like, that to me, I think is insane. Like, super insane, but super, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like, I have off today. I think I'm gonna play this. I think I'm gonna jump in. I don't play Fortnite, but I think I'm gonna play this.
It's interesting. So I don't play Fortnite. My son is my my liaison for Fortnite. So I was watching him play it. And it is pretty cool. He actually, so it's like, if you fight the first, so like you jump off the plane, you glide down, and one of the stones, one of the Infinity Stones comes in, like almost like a meteor, and crashes, and the first person to find it becomes Thanos.
Oh.
And then everyone else that's on their team become one of the Chitauris. And the goal is once Thanos or his team gets a hold of all 6 Infinity Stones, then it turns off respawning for the Avengers side.
Ooh.
So then you can, try to take them out. And then,
Wow.
of course, on the Avengers side, the Chitauri people can only have like 6 respawns or something like that before they're kicked out.
Oh.
So they need to like protect the stones. It's a really interesting mode. It really is cool. Not only that, but there's also there's a Black Widow skin that you can buy
Oh,
for your
cool.
characters, and that's not limited. Once you buy that, you've got it. And there's some challenges to complete. If you complete all the challenges, your glider that you deploy when you get dropped out of the battle bus, that is the glider is the Quinjet. So you'll be
Oh, that's so
yeah. So
cool.
if you beat all the challenges, then you get the Quinjet and you get to keep that.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, you're
Um,
right. They put in a lot of work into it.
is it free? Is this free?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
it's
The
not like
mode
part
is
of like a
free.
season or anything like that?
No. The mode is free. The mode is free. The only thing you're paying for is just the Black Widow skin if you want
Sure. That's so cool. I know what I'm doing today.
that. Let us know all about it. It's going up all against all these kids that have been playing for
Oh,
hundreds and
man.
hundreds of hours.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. They're going to be like, this guy sucks. Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Way to go.
Uh,
Wait, oh, that's the new word. In our day, well, not our day, but 10 years ago it was noob. And I think
oh,
the
yeah.
word for noob now is tryhard. I think that's what the kids use nowadays.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My little
Wow.
brother says that all the time. He's like, "Oh, this bro's sweating. Oh, he's trying so hard." I'm like, "Okay, all right. I mean, you're trying pretty hard. I can tell." He's like, "No, dude, this guy's so sweaty right now." And I'm like, "All right, I'll just let you keep playing."
Oh, man. I thought they still use noob. I guess I'm a noob for.
No, you're a tryhard.
No, I'm tryhard. That's right.
Yeah.
Cool. Mike, do you want to take the next one?
Sure, this comes from PC Gamer. Former developers are speaking out about severe crunch time at Mortal Kombat Studios. The allegations on Twitter came from a former full-time employee and multiple former contractors. And this paints an unpleasant picture of long periods of crunch time throughout development of Mortal Kombat 9, Mortal Kombat 10, and the Injustice fighting games. PC Gamer also spoke with 4 former members of NetherRealm Studios, part of their QA team, who corroborated the reports of months-long crunch and poor pay for contract workers during their time at the company. The former full-time employee James Longstreet said, "On Mortal Kombat 9, crunch officially began the day after New Year's Day 2011. Of course, we did a bit of pre-crunch before that just to make sure we were in a good spot for regular crunch. This was on scheduled document. This was not a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, passionate, hardworking thing. This was mandate." He also said, "I took one day off between January 1st and the day one patch was approved. It was my birthday. It was a Sunday, so it was okay that I was just on call. I was allowed to go to a friend's wedding, of course, on call on a Saturday night after working an 8-hour shift first. Those were the only 2 days I didn't work from 10 a.m. till at least midnight. We were all doing this. I mean, except for the bosses, of course, who would leave after dinner." Ugh, this is not good for NetherRealm, man. They've been getting a lot of flack lately.
Yeah. And I mean, so I didn't include some of the other quotes, but there was some people talking about, well, the QAs, the contractors. So they contracted their QA, and they were making $12 an hour, and they were told, "Boy, aren't you lucky that you get to work all these hours? Now you get to get some extra bonus time in and extra money now because you're working all these extra hours. You're so lucky." And some of these people would work, like 80 to 100 hours a week to get this stuff done.
Man. And
that's, they would say they'd come in at like 9, I think, in the morning and stay until 2 or 3 in the morning and get up and do it again. So, and one person in the article said, "I feel like I aged 20 years after doing this for a few months."
Jeez.
And I will say, like, I believe that because when I was, I may have mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again because it's relevant. But when I worked I work in IT, and there was this one IT shop that I worked in, and we were launching healthcare reform. And that week, so it was like 4 or 5 days when we were launching it, we worked from 7 in the morning to 5 the next morning, slept for 2 hours, and we just did it all. Did that for 4 or 5 days in a row.
Jeez.
to get it going. And ever since then, I had sleep apnea. I never had sleep apnea before, but then after that, I got sleep apnea. I almost died, actually.
Oh my gosh.
From my sleep apnea, yeah. Because I did, well, that was my fault. Because my wife was like, I think you're not breathing when you're sleeping. I'm like, I'm fine. But, yeah, I never had it before that week. And then after that, healthcare reform almost killed me, people.
The irony.
The irony, yeah. But it sucks. It's terrible. Yeah. Like, that should not be the norm. In any IT shop, that should not be the norm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The sad thing is that it seems like it is. Because, I mean, just this week, there were articles going up about Fortnite. And when that exploded, those developers at Epic Games were under crunch, like severely under crunch as well. So
For the end game?
No, for when they launched Battle Royale and it gained a lot of steam, they had a lot of people working long hours to make sure they could pump those patches out.
That's crazy. Well, and then it's shocking, and then that people leave. Come on, like, of course people are gonna leave your company. Like, not surprising that some of your top talent's not gonna be working there anymore because they could either start their own studio, which is really hard to do, but I mean, there are plenty of people that do it. Mm-hmm. But secondly, like, they'll just do something else. They don't,
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know. But my favorite part, in the meantime, I mean, except for the bosses, of course, who would leave after dinner. And, like, that's the part that really irks me about it. It's like, if you ask your employees to put in these long hours, show some leadership and be there with them.
Yeah. They're not going to respect you.
No.
And they're not going to work as hard for you.
No.
If you're just doing that. Yep. No, I had a boss that would do that. And one day I just got so fed up with it because he would leave early to, like, go golfing and stuff like that. And one day I just got so fed up with it. As he's walking out the door at like 11:30 or 12 on a Friday, I just go and I just stand up and I say really loud, "All right, have fun golfing, Terry."
Good job, Mike.
He was not happy with me.
Oh, man. If you don't mind, I have a quick story to tell kind of along those lines, too. I was working at a bank, and we were putting in long hours at the bank, and my whole staff quit because everybody hated it there. And I was assistant branch manager. My branch manager quit because she hated it there. And so I was working from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day because I had no staff.
Jeez.
And the regional manager, who didn't work at our branch, but she was in charge of several branches. She was like, you've been putting a lot of hours in. Tomorrow, come in at 10 o'clock. Come in at 10 o'clock, she said. Sleep in a couple hours. I'll open up the branch, and then, you can come in at 10 and work until 6. Work a normal 8-hour shift. And I'm like, are you sure? She said, absolutely. I'm like, but, that's money day. Money comes in this day. So we have to, you have to be there for that. Oh, yeah, I'll be there. Don't worry. No worries, she said. No worries. Now, remember, she's like the regional manager, right? I come in at 10 o'clock. My skeleton staff, is running around with their heads chopped off. I mean, not literally. But not literally. But
okay, good.
No, not literally. But, like, money came in to fill the ATM machine and our safe, and like, they were freaking out because there was nobody to count that stuff in. They were super busy. And I was like, what the hell? Where's the regional manager? And they're like, I don't know. She wasn't here. So I had to work my butt off to get everything under control. I was able to, organize the chaos. And at noon, here comes waltzing in the regional manager. She's like, hello, everybody. And I was like, I just stood there. And I said, what time is it? She's like, what? I said, what time is it? And she said, it's noon. I should clarify. I did already at this point give my 2 weeks notice. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, it's noon. And I said, what time were you supposed to be here? And she said, what? I said, what time were you supposed to be here? And she said, well, I just figured somebody else was going to take care of it. I said, you made a commitment to me and to this team that you were going to be here at 6 o'clock. It's noon. And I was like, this is the reason why people are quitting this job, because leadership like you, blah, blah, blah. I was not happy. And she was like, in my office right now. And I was like, well, I guess this is the end of my 2 weeks right here.
Yeah.
So she pulled me in the office and she was like crying and she was like, I am so sorry. You're absolutely right. I'm a terrible manager. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do now. It's really awkward. She's like, you care about this place so much and I just let everybody down and blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, well, this, just, here's a life lesson, people. Like, just, if you're going to say it, do something, then do it. Like, have some honor.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to go off on that, but that was a really funny story. Like, that was the only time I've like actually like yelled at anybody, and and I can't say it's not the only time that I made anybody cry at work, because I made people cry, but it wasn't because of me. Like, I didn't yell. I just had expectations, and then they started crying. I was like, what? Why are you crying? Stop crying.
Stop whining.
Stop whining. So, anyway, moving right along. The last item that I have here is from Push Square, and it's Kingdom Hearts 3 details upcoming free and paid DLC, including extra scenarios. What? So series director Tetsuya Nomura, is that how you pronounce his name?
Nailed it.
Thank you. Has revealed what fans can expect from Kingdom Hearts 3 when it comes to post-launch content. And so we'll have some additional scenarios named Remind, and that's coming up at some point. And it will have DLC and a secret episode, it looks like. And that will include some new bosses, while the Japanese version of the game is set to English voice acting as an option. And then there will also be new Keyblades and a new form for all players free of charge. So that's cool, right?
Yes. Thank you. I need this. This is fantastic. I love what I'm hearing here. Okay, so do you guys know what a Final Mix Kingdom Hearts game is?
Yes, but tell us anyway.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I'm gonna pretend
Kingdom
that
Hearts
I know
1
what you're
and
talking
2.
about.
Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 came out on PS2 in the Americas, right? And they were great. Everyone loved them. And then in Japan, a couple years after each one came out, they released a Final Mix version. And those versions added bosses, added cutscenes, added like significant chunks of post-game content. Like Kingdom Hearts 2's Final Mix added like 15 bosses and like a whole separate dungeon, and it was fantastic because of it. There was so much more to do in that game with the Final Mix content, and it appears that Kingdom Hearts 3, they're going the route of basically making DLC to kind of fill that gap for that Final Mix content. And if that's the case, I would love it, because my experience with Kingdom Hearts 3, last I played it, ended kind of with a fizzle, because I was, I was fighting the last Heartless in the game, the big, bad, optional post-game boss that they sent at me. I was like, all right, let's see what you can throw at me, game, and then it was over in like 2 minutes. So hopefully with this paid DLC stuff, it'll kind of flesh out some of that post-game and some of the end game in a more satisfying fashion. And that sounds like what they're going for.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw this, I was like, oh, Christian's going to love this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christian,
I mean,
did you try? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, did you try the new hard mode that they...
I am planning on doing so. That is on my list. It's pretty high on my priorities right now. Because, yeah, I'd love to do a critical mode playthrough, because they just put that in, and I think that would be right up my alley.
Cool.
Yeah, I have to play the other Kingdom Hearts games. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even going to... I'll live vicariously through you guys.
I did pick up the story so far, so I just haven't opened it yet, but I do have it. I do have it. Yeah, so that's all the news I have. Any other news from anybody?
Nope.
I do have one thing that's not game related, and I wish Blue was here, but I was gonna save it, but I'll just mention it. So I did watch the very first episode of Cowboy Bebop.
What?
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Blue's in here. Oh.
I know. It's really good.
Really?
Go ahead.
Have either of you seen it?
No.
I've seen the first 3 episodes, so
Okay.
you and I are right around the same page here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was interesting. They're doing their character building right now, so it is a little slow.
yeah, but it reminds me a lot of Firefly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Space Cowboys?
Yeah, Space Cowboys. So I like it a lot. It's really good. I mean, the music is fantastic.
Yeah, the music is awesome. I'm loving that theme.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so good. So yes, Blue, I have been watching Cowboy Bebop. And when you come back, we can talk more about it. But I watched at least one episode. I plan to watch some more today because I can. And and the reason I say I can is because my wife is out of town, the kids are out of town. I have the place to myself this weekend, so that's why I'm going to play some Fortnite and watch some Cowboy Bebop and do some other fun things. So, yay! So yeah. Cool. All right, then let's move on to our listener feedback. So last week we asked which run-of-the-mill non-boss enemy is literally the worst to deal with. And before we get into the feedback, you can give us feedback. I should mention this. Christian, how can people give us feedback?
You can reach us
go ahead.
through email at info@gamerheadspodcast.com.
And how can they reach us through Twitter?
At GamerHeadsPC.
And on our website?
That's gamerheadspodcast.com.
And then, did we mention Facebook yet?
No, that's facebook.com/gamerheadspodcast.
I almost screwed that all up. Anyway, so yeah, listeners, give us some feedback. So let's go through the feedback that we got from last week's question. Chris, do you want to take the first one?
Sure, this one's from Neutron Dust, and they tweeted, "It's obvious the Medusa heads in Castlevania still piss me off to the point of rage quitting to this day." Yeah. Of course. Their pattern is so simple, but it's so infuriating.
Yeah. We actually got a lot of Medusa heads.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of Castlevania characters in general.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. There was a lot of Castlevania characters in general. So, Castlevania. Mike, do you want to take the next one?
And this comes from our close personal friend, the true Donnie G. They tweeted, "I used to hate the Hammer Bros. Their placement was so perfectly planned as the developers knew you'd be running at full speed as they came into the screen, and by the time you slowed down and stopped, you were already eating a hammer."
Yeah.
Yep.
I used to be scared when I was a kid of the Hammer Brothers. I would just sit back and these hammers would go flying. I'm like, I don't have an opening.
Yeah.
It's like waiting to turn left on a busy street.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
That's a perfect description.
Yeah, it is. It's funny because I feel like everybody has that experience with those Hammer Brothers. You're like, oh god, okay, no, now they're jumping. What the hell? What are they jumping?
Yeah, now they're jumping and they go down a level. That's not possible.
Yeah, when they go down on your level, you're like, I'm screwed. There's nothing I can do.
You just walk into them.
Yeah. Exactly. A lot of times it's like, I have fire or I'm big. I'm just going to run through them and just hopefully I can make it past them.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, you take that sacrifice just to get past.
Right. That's right. The next one comes from at Kevin Wins, friend of the show, and he tweeted those bleep hunchbacks from the Castlevania series.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The flea men.
They're too small.
They were just so random too.
Yeah.
Yes.
They just go all over. Oh man, yeah, they aggravated me too.
Me too. Christian, you want to take the next one?
Sure. Mega Retro Man tweeted the ducks from level 9 on Battletoads.
I would agree with that if I actually made it to level 9.
Okay.
On
Yeah. That's pretty far along.
That is pretty far along.
Yeah. But I'll take your word for it, Mega Retro Man. Bravo to you for making it to level 9.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's see. Christian, want to take the next one?
Sure. Cliff Mars tweeted the Redeads from Ocarina of Time. Their screams freeze you from too far away, and you had to run away from them as Kid Link. Those things are super creepy.
Yes, they are. Especially since their attack comes out of nowhere. Like, you don't even... And then it's like, what do I do?
That game is rated E for everyone.
That's when E for everyone meant something different.
Yeah, kind of like PG movies back in the day.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know Jaws was PG?
Oh,
what?
Wow.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess, because you know what the first rated R movie was going to be? Well, you know what the first PG-13 movie is?
I do.
Yeah, Mike.
At least I think I do. Gremlins?
No.
Or no, it was
Indiana
after
Jones.
Gremlins.
Yeah, Indiana Jones.
Oh, really?
Yep, Temple of Doom.
Oh.
I
know Gremlins had something to do with the PG-13 rating. Like the implementation of it or something.
Yeah. Well, they were going to make Temple of Doom rated R, and Spielberg was like, no way. No way. Nobody's going to see this movie.
Yeah.
And then they changed it to PG-13, even though I was 7 when that movie came out, and I went to go see it. And I will say Mola Ram still scares me to this day.
Oh.
There was... When I was a kid, my friend... I don't know why anybody would have a poster of Mola Ram in their bedroom. But he did. And it was on the back side of a door, right? So when you close the door, you could see it.
No.
And I'll never forget, like... I'd be at his place when we were sleeping in his room, and his mom's like, "Good night, kids," and she'd close the door, and there's Mola Ram just staring at us. I'm like, "Can we leave the door open?"
Jeez. God, that is so crazy. I had the exact same situation.
Really?
No, I'm not even joking. Even the poster on the back side of the door. But it wasn't Mola Ram though. It was one side, it was Gizmo, and when you flipped it over, the other side it was Stripe.
Oh.
And I was always so afraid.
Yeah.
To flip it over and just look at that stripe, and I especially because that movie got really scary towards the end.
Oh, yeah.
But that's so crazy idea because I was literally I was in kindergarten. I was literally just scared to death of that poster, the other side of that poster. That's crazy.
Yeah. So yes, the definition of PG was a lot different back then.
Yes, it was.
So the definition of E was a lot different back then.
Yep.
All right, let's move on then to our push select game review section. And so this week we have 2 games we're going to be reviewing. And the very first game, Mike, I'll let you talk about, and that's Super Blood Hockey. Super Blood Hockey.
Super Blood Hockey. That's right. It's so for those of you who may not know, it is a hockey game.
Shocking. Wow.
Yes.
It'd be weird if it wasn't.
Yes. And in case the title doesn't give it away, it is super.
Oh.
And there is blood.
Wow.
A lot of it.
Oh.
It's a hockey game, which I was happy to see because I do like hockey games. I was always a big fan going back to NHL 94. And it's old school, so it's pixelated graphics. It looks exactly like the ice hockey game for the NES, which I think is available on the Switch Online service.
It is.
I think it is, and you can play that online.
There's no blood though.
There's no blood in that one. Yeah, and it's not as super.
It's not super, no.
So this one, this is. I mean, it looks and plays exactly like that. It's you choose your team. It doesn't have the NHL license. It's just you pick what country you're representing, because countries are not trademarked. And it's just a regular game of hockey.
Neither are cities, so
yeah, that's true. But it's just a regular straight up game of old school NES style hockey, with the exception of it is ridiculously violent, cartoonishly violent, and it is hilarious. I love that this game made me crack up so much.
Yeah.
So much tongue-in-cheek humor. There was just the blood that goes flying all over the ice. And another cool thing I liked about it was if you are there's no power plays, so there's no real rules. There's no penalties.
There's no icing or anything like that?
There's no icing, anything like that. No. But if you want to get a power play, you have to find one person on that other team and just keep checking them until a fight breaks out between the two teams. And then as whichever character you're controlling, your team has to take out their team, and one person on their team will be injured. And that's a power play. So they'll be hurt. So they'll either be hurt for like a couple minutes, or they could be out for the entire game. I actually killed somebody.
What?
Yes, it was. Jeez. I wasn't in cause somebody. And they give you a description of the injuries, and I'm not going to explain one of the funnier ones because it's a little more PG-13. But there was a part of him. There was a part of him that was shattered.
Oh boy.
Oh.
So and and then when someone actually died, like the best part was that they were still laying on the ice throughout the rest of the entire game, just laying there.
God.
So like you're knocking him around and all that stuff as you're going around.
Oh my God.
It's really funny. You could also check the ref and knock him down.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and it's but it really is a lot of fun. It's arcadey. You could each round or each period is only like 3 minutes, so you can get through a game in 20 minutes tops, 15 minutes tops.
Nice.
There's your basic modes, your exhibition. There's a tutorial mode. There's a tournament mode. Then there's a franchise mode, which I thought was just going to be like a season mode where it's like you play game after game and it just keeps track. But no, there is like an actual management sim involved in this. So like the whole idea is Super Blood Hockey is kind of like it's kind of like a secret underground hockey organization that hires criminals and just like puts them in these these arenas to just battle each other and try to just destroy each other in any way possible. So you need to purchase these inmates and keep them, and keep them against their will at this facility.
Oh my God.
But so in between, so you have a calendar. Each calendar is like 30 days, and that's a season. So it's not terribly deep in terms of time. But you need to check on your inmates' well-being. If they're getting too much brain damage, you gotta tell them to hit the showers.
Because that helps.
Yes, you have to be
hitting
in
the
charge
showers fixes everything.
That's right. If they get hurt too much, there's like an infirmary where they're like lying in like a coma or something, and hopefully they'll come back. So you need to have people back, to back up. You also need to determine each of their diets. It's and what to work them out on. So like if you put them on the treadmill, it increases their speed. If you put them on weightlifting, it enhances their stick handling. Things like that. So
can you give them drugs? I thought I saw something you can give them drugs, right?
There's a back alley in the game. There literally is a back alley in the game. You can get performance enhancing drugs and give them and make your teammates or make your team take the drugs. It's really it's really just over the top and silly, and I was very pleasantly surprised by it. Just how deep that franchise mode is. There's also multiplayer of up to 4 people.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, and that's really helpful because I will say the AI is tough. This is a tough game, even on the easiest difficulty. I noted in my review that if I'm playing a sports game on the easiest setting, I'm going to absolutely destroy the other team. That's my expectation.
Yeah.
On the easiest setting, it's still tough. It's tough to score because you don't control the goalie. The goalie is always controlled by the AI, and the goalie doesn't hold on to the puck. It just bounces off him.
Oh,
interesting.
And what happens is the other team will just rush that goalie and just start firing like crazy, and it'll just keep ricocheting off him until eventually it goes in.
Oh.
And then when you're playing against the other team, when you're trying to score on their goalie, it's very difficult to score unless you have a teammate that's open. Like one-timers is the best way. So you really have to work harder and try harder and think harder. So it's not just like mindless shooting and hoping for the best.
Jeez.
There was also some issues with the AI. There was a way I was able to trick it so that if I was in the lead, I could just do this one thing and I guaranteed myself a victory because they never even touched me.
Yeah.
I don't want to go over that because I think it kind of ruins the game a little for you, especially if you're trying to be challenged. But I will say with the difficulty, taking advantage of that, just especially in the season mode, helped me just secure that victory. But again, it's not game breaking or anything. It's still a ridiculously fun game. I had a ton of fun playing it. It definitely is worth it if you're a fan of sports games, hockey games. I was a huge fan of NHL Hits, which was the
yes.
NHL version of NFL Blitz or NBA Jam. and this is reminiscent of that game. So I definitely recommend picking it up if you're a fan of hockey.
Nice. And so I know, like you mentioned, how you get you get people from like prison to play on your hockey team.
Yeah.
So like, do these people have like name? I mean, like, are they unique? Do they have names? Do they have like stats? Is there special things about them?
Yeah,
are they randomly generated, or how does that all work?
No, they are. They do have stats. They do have names like Harvey Marshmallows or like it's just like silly names that. But yeah, I think there's 90, is it 99? There's a lot to choose from.
Oh, wow.
And each of them have their own stats. But then again, the better ones you get, the more expensive they are, and you need to pay for people's food, and you need to pay for rent. So you need to be careful. You can't just pick the best players and go with it. But then you could also build up your current ones in terms of experience and in terms of their different strengths. So it is it's a pretty deep management in terms of who you pick.
How do you get money? Do you win games and get more money?
Yeah, so in order to get the money, you have to win games, and at the end of each game, it gives you a violence meter as to how violent you were, and the more violent you are, the more extra money you get, the more bigger your bonus.
That sounds great.
So you win a game, and you try to hurt the other team as much as possible, and that's how you get money.
Wow,
I like that.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun.
And your review is up on GamerHeadsPodcast.com. What was your final grade on there?
I gave it an A-.
A-? Wow. Yeah, it's cool. Like, one of the things I noticed that you mentioned in your review, and I totally agree, is that the Switch does like suffer from a lack of sports games. So it's good to see, something like this come to the Switch for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, thanks, Mike. And then Christian, you reviewed the game, The Lost King's Lullaby. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so this will be a bit of a gear shift from what we were talking about before, but Lost King's Lullaby is a 2D, side-scrolling, roguelike RPG dungeon crawler type deal. And the positives end there.
Oh, no.
So, it's like a roguelike thing. So you play this girl, and you run through these dungeons, which are like forests, and the dungeons are basically a bunch of identical rectangles, and they're all strung along next to each other. So every room is the exact same, except for an enemy or two here or there. You run into an enemy, it goes into a separate combat screen, and then you do the combat fight. And the combat fights are straight out of Undertale, but worse. So you're this little circular cursor, and you're moving this around this rectangle, and then you got to dodge the attacks of your enemies while you wait for your MP to fill up, and every attack uses MP, so you got to wait for your MP to go up to the attack. You hit the attack button, and then you wait. And then you do the attack, and then you wait. So it's a lot of waiting, it's a lot of rote memorization, it's mind-numbing because there's so many enemies repeated just nonstop. The translation job here is awful. Like, every other sentence has a translation error, and the story doesn't make sense because of the translation mistakes. And the game runs very terribly. The longer you play the game, the worse the frame rate gets. It's not pleasant. If you play it for more than an hour, it's nearly unplayable, and if you want it back to normal, you have to close out of the game, but you can't save in the middle of any of the dungeons. So if you're almost at the end, if you slammed your head against all these enemies for like 30 minutes and you're like finally almost at the end, and then the frame rate takes a dump on you, you're just gonna have to fight the last boss with the bad frame rate, buddy. I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to put up with it.
That's the roguelike, though.
Yeah, but it highlights the performance issues. Even worse, it's not good. Performance isn't good. The game's glitchy. There was, like, on the enemy screen and the combat sections, you're moving the cursor around, there'll be arrows that show you where the enemy's about to attack. I had, like, one enemy that had, like, this one attack arrow blinking in this one spot forever. That same enemy, no matter where I fought it, it would have that blinking arrow there for no reason at all. That was weird. After you kill each enemy, you get feathers, and the feathers are the currency, and you spend the feathers to level up your attacks. So you can level up your attack to do more damage, or else there's a heal where if your MP bar goes all the way up, if you wait for it to go all the way up, you can heal yourself, and you can level that up to heal yourself more. And there's also like a freeze that slows down your enemy's attacks. There's absolutely no reason to use that because you can just memorize the enemy's attacks and then save your MP to do the attacks yourself and healing yourself. Don't worry about the slowdown thing. It doesn't matter. But yeah, the leveling up system, it was not available to me. So I was playing the game. I did the first dungeon. It's like, good job. You made it back. Let's level up your stuff. And it was like, click on the tree. And I was like, I don't see a tree here. And so I'm just moving my cursor and I have no options except for main menu and go back out to adventure. And so I'm like, maybe I go back out to adventure. I get to like the last area of the game and then I die, I come back, and then the tutorial message is still there. It's like, go to the tree. So I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, whatever, screw this. I exit out, I come back in. It tells me to go to the tree. I can't. At one point in time, I turn my switch off. I turn it back on, go back into the game, and now I can go into a building that's labeled the tree, and then I can level up my stuff. So the progression system's broken.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's $8, and it feels like they're robbing you for $8.
Wow.
Even at $8, which is sad, because, I mean, there was potential there. I mean, I like roguelikes, I like RPGs, I like leveling up and decimating stuff, but like just getting through the first area of the game, there's 3 areas, each one has a boss at the end, and getting through any one was just exhausting and demoralizing, and it's all over. The review is up on GamerHeads podcast. Feel free to read it. But it's done.
Does it seem like something that could be fixed with a patch, or does it seem like something fundamentally just problematic with the game?
I feel like those things could probably be fixed. The performance slowly getting worse and worse the longer you play it. I feel like that's something that has happened in some other Switch games I played, but it's mostly like sleep mode tends to be the issue with other Switch games, and I know that games that I played have been able to fix that. So I feel like that's fixable. And like other glitches, like the arrow thing happening all the time, or like what was it? There was like one enemy projectile that just disappeared, and so like one of the enemy's attacks didn't do anything, which was interesting. It made the game even easier, which was nice. So I mean, it's possible that they could fix it, but even then, like you're just fighting the same enemies over and over. They do the same attacks, and you see the attack arrows incoming, so you just move your cursor to the one spot, and then you just wait for your MP bar to fill up for every boss fight, and that's every single one. And it's not great, but it is a video game, and it is $8, and it is out on the Switch eShop, so if you're morbidly curious, feel free to give it a go.
Yeah.
Right.
And what was your final grade?
I gave it a D. I didn't go full F on it. There were a couple of little quality of life improvements that I appreciated. I liked how they put a progression system in there. I like how you can level up your stuff to get stronger. You can only level things up like 3 times each, which isn't much, but that was enough. I appreciated that. And then also on the map, so the game has a map, but every area is an identical rectangle. So it shows you on the map where you have already been, and that is so nice because you can avoid enemies, because the last thing you're going to want to do in Lost King's Lullaby is fight enemies.
Yeah, and the transition screens are kind of cool looking.
Yeah, there's a loading screen that's like a bunch of clouds that zoom in, that like come in from the outside of the screen, and then they move around a little bit, and then they go out. Yeah. It's nice looking. The loading screens break the pace up a lot, but loading screens look nice.
I do like the artwork in the game.
Yeah, I think it doesn't animate very well. It's a little herky-jerky when it's actually moving, but if you take any stills, you could make a poster of that. It doesn't look bad.
Yeah. So, all right, so that's up at GamerHeadsPodcast.com. You can read that review there. So, all right, let's go on to the games that we're currently playing then. And since you both were talking for a long time, no, I'm just kidding. I'll start us off if that's okay. So games that I've been playing. So I picked up SteamWorld Quest.
Ooh.
And it is my favorite SteamWorld game so far.
Really?
Which ones
have you played?
I played SteamWorld SteamWorld Dig 1 and 2,
Mm-hmm.
and SteamWorld Heist.
Oh, so pretty much all of them.
Yep. And I love this game so much. It is so good. I love the idea of like these cards that you collect, and then you use these cards to, deal damage. It's an RPG game, and you level up your character. There is elements of leveling up, but then you also use in-game currency, not real money, in-game currency, to buy like new cards. You also find new cards as you like go through the game. You find treasure chests, and you can find different things and cards and such. And you earn some cards. I got some from like a merchant. She was just like, here's some cards I'm opening my shop, but here's like a free gift for you guys. And then you could take those cards and then you build your deck for each of your characters. Mm-hmm. So you can have only 8 cards in your deck at a time.
Oh, jeez.
So there is some strategy to that. But it's cool. Like I have a mage. So I've only played about an hour so far. But I have a mage, and she does like, all her cards are like, fire or ice and such. Or like heal spells, or like buff, like some like protection buffs. And then I have a warrior who does more warrior type things. And then there's a mechanic, because you're all robots in this game. So there's a mechanic that you pick up, and he does heals, but he also does a lot of like major damage. And as you play the cards, you earn what they called steam. Mm-hmm. And certain cards, you have to have so much steam to be able to play the card. So there's strategy behind that too. So you might have to play like a lower level card before you can play one of your higher level steam cards. So to build up your steam. It's awesome. I love it. It's so good. And the artwork is fantastic. It's a great strategy game. I like it a lot.
When you use the card, does the card go away, or can you like keep using that same card?
No, I think it goes back into your deck because you only have 8. So, and then you can also say, I want to draw a card. So if you get a card, you can redraw one, and then you'll get a new one. But then that card goes back into your deck anyway. And so you get to play 3 cards each turn. So, like right now, I have 3 characters, so I can play 3 cards for one character. And if I do, then he gets a bonus card. They play a bonus card that you don't have. That just is a card that comes out and plays and uses it. But a lot of times you might not have 3 cards of the same character that you can play in your hand, so you have to play what you have, right? So, but it's awesome. Oh my gosh, it's such a good game. I definitely worth the $25, $24.99 for this game. So good.
Sweet.
So I've been playing that, and what else have I been playing? I feel like there was something else I was playing, but I can't think of it.
You didn't stream anything this week, did you?
No, I didn't stream anything this week. But I did pick up Mortal Kombat 11. I did not play it yet, but I did pick that up. I picked it up for the Switch, so we'll see. We'll see how that is. Oops, I just turned on my Switch. Yeah, you hear that? Yeah, I recognize that noise. And then let's see. Katana. Well, we talked about it last week, but Katana Zero. Yeah. So, yeah, those are the games I've been playing. So, what about you, Mike?
Speaking of cards, I've been playing some more Warhammer Age of Sigma.
Nice.
Oh wow.
On the Switch. Yes, I was.
You've created a monster, Roger.
I know.
That's right now. It's my go-to just before bedtime game.
Oh, nice.
I know because I see you playing it.
Oh, wait.
Ooh.
Like, what? Is there like a camera in my room?
Just a window.
Just a window. You take the 5-hour drive just to peer at me through it. Just at least you can come in and watch me, man. I'll give you like a bottle of water or something.
No, that's the crappy thing about the Switch. You see like Mike is playing, and then you're like, great. There's nothing I can do about that. But
yeah,
that's cool that he's playing that game.
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah.
So I've been playing some more of that, and I'm still enjoying it. I got there was a quest that I completed that was win 3 online games, and I was pretty proud of myself for that.
Wow.
It almost got me to the point where I wanted to go out and buy the physical card game, but I kind of stopped myself. I'm like, no. You don't need to do this. You don't need to get yourself involved in one more thing.
I'm so proud, Mike.
is that the only way you can get new cards? Is to buy the physical card game or no?
No. Like there was no, you by completing quests and completing different matches and things like that, you can unlock like booster packs that you can open.
Oh.
And it's random. That's where the cards that are in there are random. I did get caught into the to the microtransaction. But I spent $2 on gems in order to purchase like this starter pack, and the starter pack gives you some avatars. It gives you a play mat. It gives you like 4 booster packs. And so I did all that, and I figured, I'm like, you know what? I've already put a good amount of time in this for a free game.
Yeah.
I'll give them the $2. That's that to me. That's saying, hey, this is a good game. I'm enjoying it. So and so then one of the booster packs I opened had a ultra rare card that had 250 gems in it. So
what?
I made back the money that I put into the game and then some.
Wow.
So, put more money into it, Mike.
Yeah. More money. Just let it ride. I'm not gonna do that again. But no, it's so it is a lot of fun. But no, if you get into the physical game, you can buy booster packs and you can actually scan those packs, those physical cards, and use them in on your game.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's such a cool like unique way of handling that, I think.
Yeah. It is pretty cool. So so I've been playing that. I played some Cuphead on the Switch. The kiddo got a eShop card for Easter, so he got Cuphead. So we were playing that.
He got Cuphead.
He got Cuphead. I'm waiting for the physical edition.
Oh,
that's right.
Yeah, no, but he got the digital one. So we played through that. I found out that they added some secret bosses in Cuphead, so I'm excited to take them on. I played some more Spider-Man. I am all caught up with the side quests, so now I'm gonna get ready to continue on with the main story.
Nice.
So I got all the collectibles, all that good stuff.
Where are you at with the story wise?
Oh, I'm very early. I just finished the first Mary Jane mission.
Oh yeah. I didn't. Christian, what did you think? I know a lot of people like those Mary Jane messages. I hated those things. I just wanted to play as Spider-Man. I didn't want to play as Mary Jane.
Yeah, I didn't think they were handled very well. There was one mission in particular where you play as Mary Jane, and that gave a very good change of perspective. But I felt like that was like the only non-Spider-Man section that really had any worth.
Which one was that? Which one was that one?
I don't want to spoil it for Mike.
All right.
Thank you, Roger.
All right.
Yeah. So I played some Spider-Man, and I played. So I, like Roger, is very tempted to get Mortal Kombat 11, but at the same time, I know that NetherRealm and Warner Brothers are going to release a complete edition that I'll be able to get the full game for half the price about a year or two down the road.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and then I realized right as I was about to buy the game, I'm like, I still haven't beat the story mode in Mortal Kombat 10.
Oh.
So I've been playing that this morning actually. So I played some Mortal Kombat 10. And then finally, I took part in the Retro Game Brews Challenge and played some Bubble Bobble.
And I didn't get to watch it. Where did you end up? I
came in second place.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, it was really good. It was pretty intense. It was a lot of fun. I encourage everybody to check out Retro Game Brews because him and his buddies and everybody involved put on such an awesome show once a month where we go head to head on retro games.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then
he does a really good job with that.
Yeah. The other thing I want to point out, I didn't play these yet, but I did get some retro pickups I was excited about. I completed my Spider-Man collection for the Wii and GameCube. I got Spider-Man 1 and Ultimate Spider-Man on the GameCube, and I finally got Friend or Foe for a good price on the Wii.
Yeah.
And I finally got a PS2, so I completed my PlayStation collection. Somebody on Facebook in my town was selling it for $15.
Oh my gosh!
Really?
What a good deal!
Yeah.
Not bad.
So yeah, it was. It's the original Fat. It's not the Slim, but she had the box and the instructions and everything too.
Oh my gosh!
I'm like, all right, yeah,
$15.
And
yeah,
I took an air canister to it, and it works just fine.
Nice,
beautiful.
Very excited about that. So yeah, that's everything I played.
Nice, thanks, Mike. What about you, Christian?
Well, it's funny. Mike mentioned Cuphead on Switch. That's what I've been playing. I picked it up, I think, a little after it came out, a couple days after. And so I spent this week playing through it, and I just finished it. Finished it my second time through. I finished it the first time back when it first came out, and I enjoyed it. I was in a really weird headspace when I played it, though. It was almost surreal playing through that game because there's no other video game like it, and I played through so many video games up until that time, and the art style was just weird. It took me a little bit to kind of get used to it. I played through the whole game that first time, not quite used to it, but this time played it on Switch, and it is a perfect video game to put on Switch. We need more video games like Cuphead on Switch because it's an indie game, short, sweet, to the point, 2D, and not resource intensive. The game runs at the same fidelity as it does on an Xbox One X on a 720p and 1080p screen.
That's crazy.
That is wonderful. More stuff like that, please. Solid 60 frames per second. What sucked about it was having to play it with Joy-Cons. Not the biggest fan. The analog sticks are a little chintzy. I was able to make it through all of the bosses pretty all right. I started going through and playing the hard version of all the bosses, and there's some very timing intensive stuff that isn't easy to pull off with those little Joy-Cons. So I'm on the verge of getting a Pro controller. I want to not get one because that's $60 down the drain. That's a brand new video game, but maybe I'll have to do it anyways. We'll see if I can resist the temptation.
You could try some of those third-party ones, those wired ones. They're not terrible.
Yeah, so that's funny. I tried playing it with a GameCube controller because I've got the Wii U GameCube controller adapter, and I played through most of Yoshi's Crafted World with a GameCube controller, and it was fantastic. And when I tried using it on Cuphead, there was very noticeable input lag. And with Cuphead, you can't have that. If Yoshi had that, I would take it the other way around. Put input lag on Yoshi, no input lag on Cuphead, because I need that responsiveness on Cuphead.
Yeah.
You know, it would be great if Nintendo released the like they did the NES controllers for the Switch. If they did the same with Super Nintendo controllers.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I think that would be pretty intuitive for Cuphead.
Absolutely, that'd be great.
So who's your hardest boss? Who do you have the most trouble with? I'll see if
that's a good question. There's the robot guy that you fight in the plane. I always have a hard time with him.
That's my pick, Dr. Kale's robot, every single time, man.
Yeah, he's a doozy. Yeah, probably my least favorite. He's harder than the final boss, man. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man, that is tough.
How come you didn't ask me what my least favorite boss in that game is, Mike?
Because you didn't give me an opportunity to.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Roger.
Yes.
Who's your least favorite boss in Cuphead?
Oh, that's easy. The first one.
Oh. The root pick?
I'm not good at that game at all.
Oh.
No.
I'm glad you mentioned the secret bosses, though, Mike, because now I want to find those.
Yeah. I know in the root pack, that's the first boss where you fight the carrot and the onion and the potato. There's a secret boss in there. Did you try doing the pacifist runs yet?
No, I didn't do those yet.
Yeah, if you the run and gun levels, if you can make it through those levels without
killing
anything, you get a pacifist flag on it, and if you beat all of them, it unlocks black and white mode in the game.
Yeah.
So it looks like a real old, like a legitimate 1930s cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's all I got.
That's cool.
Oh,
nice.
I thought that's how you get the secret bosses or something.
No. That's just to unlock the black and white mode.
The black and white mode. I gotcha.
Yep.
Anything else, Christian?
I have continued to play MLB The Show 19.
Yeah.
And you mentioned this before, Roger, that I am a big fan of it. It is my favorite sports video game franchise by a long shot. And it's hard to explain why, but my parents put a lot of cachet into sports, okay? Ever since I was little, the earliest memories I have are going to football and basketball events with my dad. And still to this day, we go to football games, baseball games, basketball games, and whenever we're together, my dad's talking about someone, talking about the football draft and talking about, who our local team got on their team, who's doing what. And so at a very young age, it was like indoctrinated into me that sports are important, and sports kind of have a lot of like staying power as far as like names. Like there's big names in sports and people who know those names. There's a lot of people who know those names, and if you can get into sports, then like fame just happens. And so MLB The Show provides a perfect analog for that, and that is Road to the Show mode. And I just can't get enough of this. I can't get enough of Road to the Show mode. It's funny, Phil likes playing Diamond Dynasty mode. I haven't touched it because I am in love with Road to the Show mode. So how it works is you create your character, you create your baseball star, and you make them how you want them. You can choose a swing type, plenty of customization options that are all well and good. But when you start out, your character starts out in the minor leagues. So you don't start out with the big name teams or anything like that. You start out down in the double A's. You're just some average Joe doing what he can for his local double A team.
Like
and
Ballards or something?
I think that's a summer league.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Good try, Roger.
No, I know.
Good try. So you start out with the double A's, right? And then if you do well enough, maybe the triple A's will, they'll start hearing wind of your name. They'll be like, whoa, I heard about this guy. He can really hit a ball, man. Maybe we should call him up to the triple A's, see what he can do. See what he can do with the bigger shots. So you got to consistently perform at a satisfactory level. You'll get called up to the triple A's. And from there, that's when you get the eyes of the big league people. They'll be watching who's doing well in triple A. They'll be looking for who they can call up to the major leagues. And if you can still deliver with the bigger names in triple A, that's it. You've done it. You've made it. They call you up to the big leagues. They give you a phone call. They're like, hey, man, we're calling you up. You did it. You've done it. We want you playing with the big names. And you get there. You get to the giant stadiums, the huge crowds roaring. You hit the ball, and it's just like, a cathartic power trip and a fantastic way to like progression curve your video game. And I love it. I can't get enough of it. I've done it like 4 times now, and I want to do it again. It feels so great.
Wow. Okay, so I have to ask this because of the 2K sports games.
Mm-hmm.
Are there microtransactions in this game?
I don't know. That's a good question.
No, I mean to level up your character. Like, do you have to like buy things to?
No, there is no way to microtransaction your way to a better character.
Okay, that's
it takes
good.
Blood, sweat, tears, and dedication.
Wow. Because, I've been playing.
Because the 2K games, they just muddle all that. You just buy the coins and then just pump them into your character if you want a good guy. Yeah,
because I mean, we talked about this before, but it never made sense to me. Like our friend Steve has been playing like the 2K NBA basketball game, and he'll say like, my character I made, like he plays in the pros and he can't make a bucket to save his life. Like, he plays like a high school player, and I'm like, why is he even in the pros? That doesn't make any sense,
Yeah.
So that never made sense to me. Like, why would you level up your character if they're in the pros?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, they should be at a certain level to be in the pros. So.
And MLB The Show, they don't have that problem because you start out in the double A's and you are increasing your stats with every game you play. And so by the time you actually get to the major leagues, you can actually hold your own against those, all-star pitchers, man.
Wow.
And
that sounds awesome. Who did you get drafted by the way?
The Brewers. You can pick. You can pick.
Oh,
you get a phone call at the beginning and they're like, okay, so you're going to get called up. You're going to start for a team. Which team would you prefer? And then whatever team you prefer or whatever team you tell them is the team you play for. So, yeah, it's fun. just classic video game escapism in the best ways. Like, I just imagine in my brain, like I like putting the stuff on easier difficulties and then just slamming balls out of there. Just home runs all day, setting the single game home run record, setting the single season home run record, setting the single season batting average record. And this guy, I just like imagine in my head, like all these newscasts and all these people on late night television talking about this prodigy of a baseball player and how amazing he is. And I just like, I hit a grand slam and I imagine my dad sitting there in his couch, watching the football or watching the baseball game late one night, the glow of the television in his face and a slow single tear rolls down his eye.
Oh.
It's beautiful.
Wow. What you should do is record this of you playing the game and then show it to your dad and say, Dad,
no.
I made it. Yeah.
That sounds sad. Oh boy.
Do you when you create a character like that, do you name them yourself, or what do you usually do?
Yeah, so the first couple I would try to create myself, and like any character creator I do, and I can't make myself in a video game. I don't know why. It's just they have a lot of defaults, and those defaults don't really, look like me for the most part.
Yeah.
So this time I created a dude, and I just played up everything because my girlfriend Annie, she hates that I forget to shave my sideburns sometimes. So I gave this guy wicked lamb chops.
Wow.
And then I have really long hair, so I gave this dude like the longest hair, man. It like goes down to his shoulders.
You don't have
it's
that
amazing.
long of hair. You don't have that.
I guess not. Well, people at work tell me every day, you got to get a haircut. And I'm like,
what?
Not yet. It's not time yet. So
I never tell you that.
I gave this dude luscious locks, and I'm just living vicariously through my Major League Baseball player, and it's wonderful.
Wow. Is his name Christian Cubza, though?
Yes, it is. It is Christian Cubza. Okay. And what you can do is you can make... So there's a bunch of Major League players, and the announcers have like recorded voice lines for every Major League player. And so you can dip into that library and associate your name with certain ones. So my first name, Christian. There's Christian Yelich playing for the Brewers, so that's first name's fine. The last name, I've had to get creative because my last name's Cubza, and there aren't any, Cubzas in Major League Baseball that I'm aware of. So like the game 5 years ago, I just chose like there wasn't any Christian 5 years ago either, so I was like Chris Boomer or something. And so this year there's no Cubza, there is Christian, so I'm Christian Cuba, and that's the closest I got to Cubza, and I'm down with it. I like being Mr. Cuba.
I'm gonna call you that from now on, Mr. Cuba.
Sure, by all means, Roger.
Can I call you Chris Boomer though?
You can call me Chris Boomer. Absolutely, you're gonna make me nostalgic for the good old days.
Fun. Cool. Anything else?
No, that's it for me.
Cool. Then let's do this. We'll take a break, and then when we come back, we'll get into our hot topic. And our hot topic this week is, has the eShop become a shovelware haven? And how will this affect Nintendo? So stay tuned. And welcome back to GamerHeads. So yeah, this week, our hot topic is, has the eShop become a shovelware haven, and how will this affect Nintendo? So the reason I thought of this, there was actually a couple of things. One, like after reading your review of the Lost King's Lullaby, I think you mentioned, Christian, that the eShop has become so just saturated, yeah, and there's like good games that are just lost in the mix. Like even games like, I know like Steam World Quest like had a lot of, still has a lot of hype around it, right? Like this, Image and Form has a lot of clout and people know them, but I can see how this game can easily be lost with all the noise that happens in there. And this was my concern. This is a while back. We talked about this when Nintendo came out and said, hey, we're going to, what was it, like 200 to 300 a week or something like that they're going to try to get out on the eShop? It was insane. It was the same amount of games that they wanted to have out on the eShop. So I wanted to talk about that. Like, has eShop become just saturated with shovelware, and how will this affect Nintendo? And I have some articles I want to read too with this, but we can talk about this first. So what do you guys think? First of all, let's just start with, do you think Nintendo eShop has a problem with shovelware? I think that's a silly question, but go ahead. Discuss.
I think no more than any other platform does. PlayStation has its share of shovelware, and don't even get me started on Steam. It's so I'll say yes, they do, but no more so than a lot of the other systems out there. The thing is, Nintendo, with that seal of quality that has kind of a stigma to it now, and it's not the same seal of quality that it used to be. We're starting to see Wii era levels of just kind of garbage games appearing on the system. It does kind of drown out some of the other good games, like you were talking about earlier, like Iconoclast. But there's also some shovelware out there that's actually not too bad. And I'll say, Roger, you may disagree with me, I don't know, but I consider LetterQuest to be shovelware.
LetterQuest?
Yes, because it's like a mobile game. It's got that, I don't even know what kind of style that animation is, where everything's very like, it looks like, I don't even know, very dull 2D animation where everything is just very like, it's too smooth. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's certain games, and I know LetterQuest is one of them. There's another one that Has Been Heroes, I think, is another one. I think not Darkest Dungeon. No. There's some other games that have that exact style of animation that I am not a fan of. But I enjoyed LetterQuest. I thought LetterQuest, despite being a shovelware game, in my opinion, is also a very good game. But games like Dynamite Fishing, which is that same type of animation that I'm not a fan of. But we're starting to see more people finding success with discounting their games to 99 cents.
Yeah.
And throwing it up. Seeing what sticks. I
saw one game. I'm trying to find it right now, but I'm not seeing it. But there was one game that's 19 cents right now.
Yeah.
19 cents. Like, what the heck? How is that even possible?
Yeah.
Like, why? What are you even doing? How are you even putting that out there for 19 cents? Yeah, it's ridiculous. Well, I guess that's my first question then. I mean, you bring up a good point. I mean, not my first question. It's a question that I'm thinking of. What makes shovelware then? What's the definition of shovelware in your mind?
I would say, so if it originally appeared on a cell phone, that's probably one box to check. I would say if it doesn't have a deep, engaging story and deep, engaging gameplay elements, like if it's a game that you can play with just one hand while you're scratching your butt with the other, then I think that would be shovelware. I also think that it's a game that has no lasting meaning, and a game that's just a game that's put together just like almost haphazardly, like a game that just feels like it's like there was minimal effort to push this one out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel the same way as Mike. Especially games that reuse assets. I feel like that is like prime flag, major characteristic of any shovelware game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think that's is something where people just take like Unity is like, it's a bad rep for this, where people just take a bunch of assets from Unity because you get those from the Unity store and just put them together and say, look, I made a game. And it's like, did you? Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, just give you some examples here that's out there. I just went out to the eShop just to see. I went by the lowest price, lowest to highest. So, No Thing is the game that I was thinking of. No Thing. It was $1.99 when it first released. Now it is 19 cents. I'm not kidding. Released on March 22nd, 2018. Timberman VS. That also launched at $1.99 on May 3rd, 2018. That is now also 19 cents. Yeah. So, Guess the Character, released on December 20th, 2018.
That's shovelware.
Yeah, that's shovelware. $1.49. Yeah. So, I mean, and 99 Moves, that was released on February 8th, 2019 at $2.99. That's now $1.49. I mean, I can't speak for all these games because I haven't played all these games, and I don't know if that's fair to say like all these games are shovelware, but it is disheartening to see this big push of like, let's have everything out there, and then like you get games that are like 19 cents. Like, why is that game even on the eShop anymore? So one thing I wanted to read here was just an excerpt here from this is from Nintendo Life. Nintendo's president wants the Switch game library to, quote, continue to meet consumers' diverse tastes. So President Furukawa took the time to discuss both the first and third-party software offerings for the Switch and how the system's library of games should continue to appeal to as many different people as possible. And he just goes on that he wants the games to have an even richer variety for people to experience. But I guess my concern is that eventually some of these really good games, like right now, I think everybody wants to get their game on the Switch, right? Because Switch is super popular. But eventually it's going to come to a point, I would think, that if you feel like your game is buried so deep in the eShop, I don't know, do you think that's going to hurt a publisher for wanting to bring their games onto the Switch? Maybe not, but I was just thinking about that. What do you guys think of that?
Well, I don't know. I think yeah. If I was a game developer, I would want mine on the Switch, and I would also want mine to be, and I would also understand that there is a ton of other games that it's going up against, and I got to do something to set it apart. Dropping it down to 19 cents is one thing, but I think that there's a couple different mentalities. My mentality would be, I want to make a great game that people enjoy, that people talk about, that people relate to the characters. But there's other people out there that say, let's just throw every single game we can out there and make as much money as we possibly can. Which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's quantity over quality is is kind of the essence of shovelware for that.
Yeah, I think Nintendo is kind of riding this fine line right now, and it's very close to tipping into any one direction. And Steam is just blew into the games everywhere direction, where there's tons of stuff on there. The barrier to entry is very low for developers, and there's games put up there all the time. Games that don't even work get put up on Steam. Games that don't have an executable file to run the game get put on Steam and make money. So that's crazy, and that's why developers found something like the Switch more attractive, especially when the Switch first launched, because if you put anything on the eShop right up close to the launch of the Switch, everyone was like, oh, I want more stuff to play on this. Yes, I'll buy it. And so people saw their sales just skyrocket when they put anything on the Switch. And now I feel as the Switch gets older and as that marketplace starts, getting larger and larger and more populated and more saturated, when you put something new on the Switch, when there's 199 other things that come out that week, it's not going to be as attractive to you as a game developer who wants to put your game up on a storefront where it's going to get recognized. So I feel like we're not quite there yet. It still makes sense to put things on Switch. People are still looking for fun stuff to play on Switch, but you're also kind of putting it up against these menagerie of free-to-play and 19-cent games.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I 100% agree with you, Christian. But then you see things like where Katana Zero sold more than 100,000 copies in its first week. The second fastest selling Devolver digital game on a Switch. Do you know what the first one is?
What is it? Oh, I don't know.
Any guess?
Devolver Digital. I got nothing.
Enter the Gungeon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but I mean, Enter the Gungeon was really early actually in the Switch time frame. That was in 2017. So, but yeah, I mean, so you see success stories like that, which is good, right? Because I really like Katana Zero.
Heck yeah.
A lot. But yeah, I mean, I think, in your article that you wrote, Christian, when you have games when you have games that are not good,
yeah.
It does take away from games that are, they just get buried because eventually those games get buried on the bottom of the eShop. And we talked about this even any media. I mean, even podcasts. I mean, for, I can talk about anything, but, if you were to search for our podcast on iTunes, good luck. You're not going to find it. I could give you the link to it, but if you were just to search for, video game podcasts, we're not on the first page or the second page or the third page. We're pretty far down there. But I mean, I think I feel like there has to be something where better curation of the eShop, or I mean, I know they have categories, which is awesome, and they have like bestsellers and stuff like that. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I guess what are your thoughts? Like, what are some ways that they could make? Because they're not going to change. They're not going to change the outside of like saying no, we're not going to have any of your games come on here anymore. We're trying to slow things down. But what are some things that Nintendo can do then to the eShop to make it a little bit better for games like one game that I will mention here that it's a shame that it didn't get the attention it deserved, and that is Space War Arena. Man, that game is so good. And it's affordable game. It's on the eShop, but it got buried, and it's too bad because that game is, if you like card games, Mike, like the game you're playing right now, you're really gonna like this game a lot. It's strategy and card game. It's really good, but it got lost in the eShop because there's just so much noise going on right now. Yeah. So, what are some things Nintendo can do to help one, consumers find something that's going to be, something worth their time, but secondly, like these gems, but secondly, how can Nintendo help these publishers get their games more visibility on the eShop?
I think word of mouth is a big thing. So I think if they had user reviews, like just like a 5-star rating, and the thing is that you can only leave a 5-star rating if you've purchased the game.
Yeah.
Okay. I think if they did that, then like somebody's, it's not like some developer with, 6,000 Facebook friends says, okay, everybody, I need you to go on the eShop and give my, 5 stars, my game 5 stars without having played it. But if they introduced a thing where you can leave, 5 or whatever review, but you have to have owned a copy of the game in order to do that, I think that would make things more legitimate. And I think that, I know I would search, like if you can, I would search by price. So if I'm looking for a shovelware game, I would search $4.99 or less and sort by reviews, however many stars. And then I'm like, okay, so this might be shovelware, but this is good shovelware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know those words normally don't go in the same sentence, but
yeah.
It's so hard because there's no single silver bullet solution that's going to fix absolutely everything. Because even ratings, that will help, but the Google Play Store has ratings, but the Google Play Store is just full of stuff. So it's very difficult because what Nintendo and what any storefront will say is that we don't want to be the one who doesn't let, the one dedicated individual who wants to put their game out there. We don't want to be the one that says no to them, and so nobody plays their game because of us. We want to make sure that person who's spent all of their life making their video game that's their life's work, we want to make sure that person can have their video game played. But I feel like for every one of those, there's 10 companies that are just cranking stuff out and putting it up there as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And it's really hard, because there's no silver bullet solution. I mean, people could sit down and play through the games that get put up there, but I mean, Undertale, for example, the beginning of that game is just NES fan made. It doesn't look very appealing at all. And so I feel 10 people, if they played the first hour of that game, they could be yeah, nah, let's not put this up there. But there's Undertale is the favorite game of thousands of people. So it's so hard to find a silver bullet solution. And I mean, ratings definitely wouldn't hurt. I think that's a good idea, Mike.
Yeah. I think Nintendo biggest concern is that somebody is going to say, I mean, if you go to Metacritic, right, and you read the users' reviews, and man, some user reviews are really good, and some of them are just this game's the worst piece of garbage I've ever played, don't play it, or this game's the best game ever, can't believe people hate it. It's well, that's not really a review, that's just your opinion. I mean, reviews are, somewhat of an opinion, right? Try to be as, as objective as possible, but those are not objective at all. Yeah. And I think and I think Nintendo's worried about that, and I think also Nintendo's worried that somebody's gonna put some swear words on there.
Yeah.
Not that they can't control that, right? They probably could do some control. But one thing that I was thinking about when you mentioned how it'd be cool if there was like user reviews. I really liked Miiverse a lot on the 3DS.
Miiverse was good. I enjoyed, yeah.
And it got a lot of people, like, that's how I met Mick Waits from Four Horses, was through Miiverse, because I played Digger Dan, and they had a Miiverse page, and, I asked a bunch of questions on the page, and he responded. It was awesome.
Huh.
And it was great, and it was cool to see community get involved, and people like drew pictures of games and like showed their love for their games, and it was just a way of interacting not only with the users interacting with the game, but users interacting with the developers. And like, I don't know, I feel like Nintendo should be doing something like that. Like, give the people that want to do that, give them the ability to connect more on the device itself with their customers.
Yeah, I would be I was sad to see Miiverse go. There was a Paint app that I downloaded on the Wii U. I think it was free at one time, or it was only like 99 cents or something like that. And people were posting their pictures on the Miiverse, and it was such a positive community.
Yeah,
of people posting the pictures that they drew, and even like the little kids, like it wasn't all just like amazing drawings. Like little kids were posting posting their stick figures, and everybody was like, great work, that looks great, and giving it thumbs up and everything like that. It was just such a great community. It's kind of a bummer to see that go.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on this topic?
I'm kind of afraid, because I look at the coming soon part of the eShop and I see nothing that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I will have to wait and see. I don't think this is not something that's gonna change. So I think what we need to do on our end is we need to make sure we're more diligent in researching our potential indie games.
Yeah. What about you, Christian? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's not going to be the end of the world. We're still going to have wonderful video games, independent games included. I just hope we find a way to make it easier for the indie games that don't have a huge marketing budget or more mainstream appeal to kind of rocket into more public consciousness and be out there and available for people to find, because it's getting increasingly hard.
Yeah. Agreed. So listeners, let us know what you think. What are some things, what are your concerns with the eShop? How can Nintendo make it easier for you as consumers to find the games that you're looking for? And then also, how can Nintendo make it easier for developers to promote their games on the eShop? You can send us a tweet at GamerHeadsPC. You can send us an email at info@gamerheadspodcast.com. You can send us a message on Facebook. That's facebook.com/GamerHeadsPodcast. Or you can go to our website, and that's at GamerHeadsPodcast.com as well. Leave us a message there. Not saying Nintendo will listen to anything that we're saying, but hey, we'd like to hear what you have to say. So let us know. All right, so before we head out, let's go around and tell people how they can get a hold of us. Mike, how can people get a hold of you?
You can find the Controller Throwers podcast on Twitter at TCThrowers. You can also find it on iTunes, Google Play, and right here at GamerHeadsPodcast.com. And be sure to check us out at twitch.tv/TCThrowers.
Nice. And Christian, how can people get a hold of you?
I'm on Twitter at Christian Cubza. Otherwise, you can read my reviews at New Game Network, Push Square, and GamerHeadsPodcast.com.
Nice. And as I mentioned, you can always reach us on Twitter. It's probably the easiest way at GamerHeadsPC. You can also send us an email at info@GamerHeadsPodcast. Facebook as well. And like I said, our website is GamerHeadsPodcast.com. So check us out there. All right, Mike, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Thank you for having me.
And Christian, thank you for joining us.
It was a pleasure.
And listeners, again, thank you so much for your time that you give to listening to our podcast. We really appreciate it. And if you could, leave us a review in the link to the iTunes, on our iTunes page. The link will be in the show notes below. So, feel free to leave us a review. We'd love to hear what you have to say about the show. And any reviews that we get, we'll certainly read on the show as well. All right, until next time, keep playing games, sift through the junk on the eShop, and find the gem that you're looking for. All right, take care, everybody. Have a nice week.
Peace.
Good night.